Jury selection in the federal sex trafficking trial for the Alexander brothers gets underway in New York City today. Now, two of those brothers, Oren and Tal, were once top luxury real estate agents before they were arrested with their third brother back in 2024.
Now, according to the indictment, all three of them leveraged their wealth and conspired for more than a decade to drug, sexually assault, and rape dozens of women. They have all pleaded not guilty to the charges. Their trial is expected to last up to 8 weeks. And if they are convicted, the brothers face up to life in prison or a mandatory minimum of 15 years. NBC News legal analyst Misty Marris joins us now. Misty, so what kinds of questions will these potential jurors be asked before they are chosen for this jury?
So there's a lot of focus on whether or not the jurors themselves or family members, friends have been victims of sexual abuse. And we know this because not only are they undergoing voir dire right now, where the judge and the lawyers are asking questions to see who can come in without any bias and base everything on the facts. Remember, there were jury questionnaires, extensive questionnaires that were distributed to try and eliminate some of the jury pool that they don't believe are going to come into that jury room neutral. So this is a really deep dive process. A lot of internet searches on these jurors just to seat a jury who can come in there and really only focus on the evidence and not everything they've heard outside the courtroom.
But my question, Misty, is how realistic is that? Because you're talking about things that could bias the juror based on his or her own life, whether they were victims of sexual abuse. But what about jurors who are just aware of the reputation of these men?
Yeah, so certainly that's another factor. And there's no one that's going to be eliminated because they've simply heard of the case. The question is, can they put aside what they might have heard, what they might have known, and just focus on that evidence and say that they're not going to come in with any biases. They haven't already made a decision on guilt or innocence. So that's really the challenge. And it's the same challenge that we have in all of these high-profile cases. That's why you see such a focus on voir dire in trying to weed out those jurors who've already made a decision.
Misty, when you have a case like this, the three brothers are being tried at the same time.
Yes.
Walk us through the challenges for the prosecution and the defense here.
Yeah, this is really, really challenging. And I would say it makes it more challenging for the defense in general, because what the prosecutors are going to lay out is what they say was a conspiracy between the three brothers, that they were acting in concert, that they conspired to engage in these acts of sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. So for the defense, they're going to have to try and focus on the acts of each individual brother and separate that out so the jury isn't looking at them cumulatively and imposing guilt on all three just by virtue of all three of them sitting at that defense table.
Oof, Misty Marris, a lot to unpack in this case. Stay with us as this case continues. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Misty.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.